So coming back from Stonehenge, that was all good. We got back in at 3 o'clock, so we were a little bit late. And then I thought that the British Museum closed at 5. Turns out it closes at 5:30, but same. And I went from where we got dropped off, which was a tube station, sort of a couple stops away from Victoria Station. Then I hopped on a couple buses, I think, and then about like an hour later or whatever, I got to the British Museum. And so I thought, I've got an hour here. Obviously, it turned out to be an hour and a half. And again, that was really worthwhile. I mean, the museum is free, so you can't really go too wrong. But it was really yeah, it was the same sort of thoughts as the Louvre, where they had the like. So I thought that the French were amazingly talented at stealing things from other civilizations and hoarding them, but it turns out that the English are really good at that too. They're so good at stealing things, and in some cases, like what did I see? The Rosetta Stone. So I'm stood by the Rosetta Stone, like the key to deciphering ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. And then apparently the French found it. Sort of. No, the French, they didn't find it. They plundered it in some war. And then they claimed it for themselves and they put it somewhere else. And then the English conquered the French there. And then they stole it and took it for themselves. So it was like they stole it from the French, who stole it from the Egyptians. I don't know. But it was really cool to be stood right up next to the Rosetta Stone for something that's so important. And there were all these really amazing treasures all the way through the museum. Like there was this staff/cane that was reputed to do crazy things. And it had like a head of a skull or some sort of sacrificial thing. I'm not too sure, but like all these things crafted out of gold and I mean there were also a lot of things that were from Italy and from Greece, things that when I was in Greece and Italy, it said, this like this statue is no longer here. It is on display in the British Museum, and this important piece of that is missing, that's at the British Museum too. And so it was interesting to actually be at that museum and look at this stuff and go, wow, this doesn't belong in a museum. It belongs back where it actually came from. And often the things weren't particularly impressive, or at least maybe not, like certain things I'm talking about. Out of context, just sitting in a museum behind panels of glass, like I just think it would be so much more powerful if they were actually in that context of reality, I guess, where they came from. But it is what it is, and so I found the exhibits with like the Egyptian and Italian and Greek stuff probably less. I was less enthusiastic about those, but more enthusiastic probably about the things that like the medieval England side, like that staff cane thing that I just described, and the things that were actually from England or places that were nearby. I think I like that part best, except for the Rosetta Stone. That was a highlight. So an hour and a half there, and then it was closed, and they got everybody out. Where did I go after that? Oh yeah, right. And so then I went over to Euston Station and picked up my ticket for tomorrow morning, which is taking the train up to the port where the ferry leaves to go over to Dublin. So all going well. Tomorrow night I should be in Dublin. And it's it's not all that long of a journey. I think it works out to be about 8 hours. And I'm looking forward to it, just seeing... The UK seems really small at the moment. Like, even going out to Stonehenge today was... on the map, it was a large chunk of the UK, that distance from London to Stonehenge. And so it seems very small. So it'd be cool to see how it goes up north. And, anything else that I needed to say for today? Museum at Stonehenge. No, I think, it's only about 10 o'clock, so I got back here around maybe 8 o'clock or so, and then, I'm looking forward to a somewhat early night, and I'll probably get up around 6:30 maybe to get my stuff all packed up and out towards the Euston Station. So I hope I hope the traveling goes well tomorrow, because there are a few little sticking points, but it seems all like the ticket that I have is a combined train and ferry. So if there is, like, there's been a lot of, I think I said in yesterday's post, or maybe the day before, about all the transit chaos that's been happening in this area, and there's just signs up all over London that just say major disruptions, blah 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 blah. And so even in the news this morning there was like main lines being closed and stuff from bridges collapsing and whatnot. And so it'll be interesting to see if it all runs smoothly tomorrow, or if there's some hiccups along the way. Alright, good night.